Time goes by, years and decades. She comes, she goes, but her story remains so. She is you, I, and the others. She belongs to herself and not another. She is whole, complete, and absolute, for she is resolute. Hello and welcome to She Is Resolute. I'm your host Suvarna, and our endeavor on this show is to showcase conversations of grit and growth for the determined modern woman willing to take complete ownership of her life and her mindset. Our attempt is to bring to the fore actionable information on personal development through discussions with experts and personalities who have, in one way or another, proven that they too are resolute. So enjoy the episode and please do like, share, and subscribe. Self confidence and self assurance. Nothing is more empowering than that. But seeing yourself in the mirror and loving what you see is a feat that women tend to struggle to attain. Right from a young age, society, films, the internet sets very unrealistic standards of what attractive or healthy is. To top that, life is becoming increasingly hectic, especially for working women who have to handle their work and their homes. So much pressure tends to create a sense of overwhelm and anxiety around starting a fitness journey. But thankfully for us, we have incredible professionals and inspirations like Zareen Siddique, our guest today. Zareen is a highly qualified fitness coach and dietitian and is a meaningful fitness influencer with the exceptional ability to motivate and inspire her community to get stronger, healthier, and transform their lives. She's passionate about helping people, especially women, to start their fitness journey with her program Fit with Zareen, and her mantra, keep it simple, has a high success rate with thousands of trainees from across the world. Zareen, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thanks, Suvarna. It was a surprise because I myself don't do many talks and lives and videos, but I did feel a connect. And I think, you know what? I thought, let's just talk about this.
I'm so excited to have this conversation. Fitness is something that I'm also passionate about with somebody who's pursuing it so professionally and so passionately like you. I would love your expertise on certain questions that we can discuss. So these days, Zareen, physical wellness education through social media, training, health, all of this information is becoming mainstream. I would like to understand your personal journey. How did you get interested in this area, and what drove you to become a fitness coach, especially for women, and having a women-oriented mindset?
I get asked this a lot, even on my DMs and comments from people who sort of start following me randomly. And I always say it comes from my parents. You literally influence your children. That's why when I talk about women, I usually direct my comments and my posts, everything that I say is for the moms, because literally a mom can change everything that's happening in the household, from her parents to her in-laws to her husband to her siblings to her kids. Literally it's that woman, because she by and large in 90% of Indian households manages the kitchen, and it's the kitchen that decides your health. So that's why I feel it is literally women driven. And when it comes to myself, it comes from my parents. Both were very conscious health wise, both are still very conscious health wise, and I have always seen them work out during all our family holidays. And being a regular army household, they were just very typical. So I think it's by and large a gift from my parents, the habit to be conscious, etc. But taking it up professionally became very important to me after my son was born. So my son was born by a C-section. I think I was 37, 38 that time. And I realized that whatever fitness I claimed to have, I was always sort of considered fit. I was never overweight in any point of my life. I've always been active. I was never super fit when it comes to health consciousness, but I always watched my weight and tried to be active. After the birth of my son, I realized that C-section is a very murky territory when it comes to India, and women tend to have so many, inhibitions in their mind about what they can, what they can't. And it's not just the women, it's what's being told to them. Because throughout my delivery, throughout my pregnancy and delivery, I had medical professionals telling me to watch out, to not exercise, to not do this, to be careful, to do this. And I realized when I see Westerners, they were so comfortable. Even with 3 kids, you would see them running around with strollers and they would have had C-sections. So then I realized that it's something that we are burdening ourselves with, which is not true. Our bodies are capable of so much more. We're just feeding ourselves wrong, and we're just pampering ourselves and not putting in the work. I think that is what we Indian women are doing, and blaming the C-section. So to get out of the mindset, I said, you know what? If I can get out of it, I can train others to get out of it. So when I started my professional fitness journey, I started as a postnatal trainer. So for 2.5 years, I was purely training C-section moms. I used to work with gynecologists, and the gynecologists and me, we would work hand in hand. We would take their trainees, take their patients who had just delivered. They would, push them to me that you please do not get, negligent about your health. You must get on to Zareen because she's going to guide you. And that's how the journey started, from being a postnatal C-section trainer. And of course, I just realized there's no end to it, because when you want, when people reach out to you, you're just surprised that when it is so simple to get a hold of your health with the food that you put in. But you do not want to do that work. You will go to 10 different doctors in 10 different countries and do 10 different treatments. But the treatment in your house that is simply getting your food in order is the toughest to do. So you neglect that. So basically, that's how the journey started. And then it's just been an ongoing process. Of course, during that period, I got divorced. And post-divorce, my work became so much more important, because it became not just a means to my earning, finances. It also became the only thing that gave me validation. And suddenly each trainee's response became so much more gratifying, because I realized that, what, I still have so much to contribute to the world, and a divorce does not define me. So that also helped me, get so much more involved, and just, get deeper and deeper into it. Of course, now I feel it's just a passion. I live, breathe, eat.
It's wonderful what you do. I mean, specifically having that unique expertise of training women postnatal, that is something that I've not heard of. And it's really great work to do that, because at that particular point of time, you have so many psychological issues that people don't talk about. You have PTSD, postpartum.
Depression, and invariably their, self-esteem is at the lowest. And, they're just struggling with, should I eat? If I stop eating, my breastfeeding will be affected. Or should I eat the lunch? So it is a time when they really need help.
So a fitness journey or somebody guiding you through that process can be so empowering. And thank you so much for doing what you do. And also thank you for being candid, about your personal life, which sort of brings me to my next question, that, culturally, we women have a very long way ahead of us before we feel like a sense of control, particularly after a difficult emotional or a relationship related trauma or experience. And one of the areas that we let go or neglect is health and fitness. And as a personal fitness coach who's focused on this, can you give us pointers on how one can continue or even initiate a personal journey? And why is this important, particularly when there's a difficult period in your life?
It is so important. I keep saying that because I feel, when you are working on yourself, even if it's like that 30-minute walk that you get time out for, whatever you put into yourself, that energy literally multiplies into emotional strength, not just physical strength, emotional strength, emotional clarity. And I think for women, emotional clarity, not just emotional strength, emotional clarity at the time of, when things are going wrong, women just tend to get so clouded with emotion. So that emotional clarity, it just doesn't, you don't just wake up one day with being more mature or more, I think it comes because you've been putting work continuously. And this little discipline of, being disciplined about working out or putting in some time into your own physical fitness, that discipline relates. Like I said, it has a multiplying effect. It's not just exercise is good to, get a certain inches on your waist. Exercise, literally, the hormones do wonders, and the emotional clarity that comes from being grounded because you have a certain discipline that you are maintaining. That discipline also translates into so many other areas of your life. And I think emotional clarity is something that would very, very, very much help women, especially when they're going through emotional roller coasters in relationships, or be it any sort of crisis that they're dealing with. Hence, I always say, never give up on your health. Never give up on your health. Eating well and working out both have a compound effect on the way that your mind functions and on the way that your emotions will be in control, in your control, which is so important to get over a crisis.
100%. I mean, everything that you said about the discipline, you start identifying as the person who's disciplined. And when you start, having that sense of identity, you make an effort to stick to that identity of yours.
Very often you'll hear people asking, fitness influencers, what is your motivation? I lose motivation. What motivates you to do this every day? I start out, but I give up in a month's time. And for me, there's only one answer. Do you value yourself? You're doing it for yourself. Do you value yourself? Now, somebody, let's say I have inculcated this habit in me that I would put in the work no matter what I'm going through, whether it's good times or bad times. I will put in this much effort into my body and mind because I value myself. If I value myself, do you think there is a chance that somebody who's communicating with me will not value me? There's very little. When you value yourself, you give very little scope to samne wala to not value you. So when you teach people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. So if a woman looks after herself, guards her sanctity, her mental and her physical being herself, why would somebody else have even, the chance to attack it? They would think twice because they would say, this is a woman who's in control. Right? So I think it's literally like such a holistic thing. It's not just working out to be, physically attractive or physically more better than you were. No, it is so much more. It's the whole personality that shapes up because you value yourself. You're putting into work into yourself. It's not just cosmetic, right? So it's a whole thing that you're working on, your spirituality, your physicality. Value yourself. There's very little that somebody else can do to disturb that.
100%. Oh my God, that was so wonderful. And since we're on this topic, I mean, I've personally also faced this as a teenager, and now that I'm in my 30s, there are times when, women tend to put their physical well-being or their fitness in the back burner. Why do you think women tend to do that? Do you have any views on that?
Yes, like I said, see, we tend to take on responsibilities of everything, right? So the man let's say you're in a house where there's a man. The man walks in, he dumps his emotional baggage on you because he feels, I've done my bit outside in the world, I'm not responsible. Kids walk in, they look up to you for support. Your seniors, anybody you're looking after, your in-laws, your parents. I feel we just take it upon ourselves to be the saviors and to be, the peacekeepers in the household, to look after every need. I think we take it upon ourselves. That's why I keep telling women that 30-40 minutes for yourself is so important, because if you're a caretaker, which most women are, whether they live in nuclear homes or they're living as single women, or it's just our nature. By nature, women will tend to be caretakers. And if you are looking after somebody, if you're responsible for somebody else, be it seniors or juniors or your kids, aren't you responsible for yourself first? If you are in your best shape physically and mentally, you can do so much more justice to your role as a caretaker.
100%. And the fact that, we take on the responsibility for the people in our family and we put ourselves in the back burner is one of the most ironic things that I think we go through. And even there's so much shame and guilt associated with, prioritizing yourself. If you prioritize yourself, that's perceived as selfish. And even you give yourself a lot of, internal agony.
It is so important for any person who has any sort of following on social media for whatever role that they are playing in whichever field, they should make it so, they should generalize and they should verbalize that, yes, this is what I do for myself. This is what I do to keep myself happy. It is so important for especially our society now, which is coming out and growing. We're not talking about the urban kids who are, we're talking about everybody, because there's sometimes it surprises me where I will, from some interior in Punjab, I will get a DM that, ma'am, you don't know how you've changed my life. Just because of this, I've started getting up in the morning and going out for a walk, which is not done in my village. That is a changing of perspective. Now we need to verbalize and we need to speak it out in social media so much that somebody like that sitting in some interior understands that it's normal if I do this. Yeah. It's wrong, right? So when we think of, Indians, we it's so vast. The reach is so vast. Why don't all of us have any sort of standing, even if it's a little, in any field? Talk about and speak about it in such a way that we generalize it. It should be common, right? That a woman a mom can tell her kids, give me half an hour. I'm going to talk to you after my exercise and not before that. Please don't disturb me. Or I'm headed to the gym. I'll see you after 2 hours. And she tells the dad, watch the house while I'm gone. Why don't we just generalize this? Yeah.
I agree. Completely agree. But one of the things that, again, can be a demoralizing or a demotivating factor is that when you start a fitness journey, and I have been doing this for about 8 or 9 years now, so I know where I go wrong and what I need to do. But the problems that I faced were patches of lack of consistency. So people tend to start a workout regime, they'll join a gym, but then they'll drop out. And once you drop out, you're not going to see tangible results in your body and how you feel. And then you start perceiving yourself or, that particular initiative as a failure. So what are your views on the importance of failure and setbacks in a fitness journey?
So you're always going to have failures and setbacks, because there is one formula fits all. Something that worked for you last year may not work for you this year, because your body is changing, your hormones are changing, your environment is changing, the stress factors you're facing are changing. So there's no one formula. You got to keep adapting. You got to keep trying. The only thing that remains consistent and constant, that should remain consistent and constant, is that, I'm putting my health first. So my indulgences can be for that weekend lunch, or for that Sunday lunch, or for this outing, or for that outing. But watch your diet. What you put into your system literally affects everything, including your mood, your hormones, your fitness, everything. So first thing is eat right. Eat right should become your mantra. So we don't indulge. And second, exercise is something that should be a part of your routine, like brushing your teeth. So just because you say, I haven't lost 2 kgs on the weighing scale, which I wanted. I always tell guys, what if you were being, if you're trying to be fit, if you're trying to stay consistent on a path of, good health, count your blessings, see what all has changed. Has my hair improved? Has my skin improved? Has my sleeplessness gone down? Has my PMS improved? What is my waistline shrinking? Am I fitting better into my clothes? Do I look and feel better? Why am I hung up on the weighing scale? So yes, and of course, it's always so nice that every 3 months, do a little analysis. Is this working for me? The work that I'm putting in and the food that I'm eating, has it shown me growth? If it has not, please change your coach, consult somebody who understands that this is the path that you need to take, who needs to push you. I have very often seen people, going to coaches who they are comfortable with in terms of, aap kha lijiye, ye bhi kar lijiye. You're going to be in the same place 6 months hence also. Do you want to change your health for the better? So be very educated about, getting to a coach. Be also very educated about your analysis. Are you in that 3 months, are you growing or not? And like I said, motivation is something that comes from inside. It does not come every day. We all go through our patches. That's where discipline comes in. So we always, there's this quote that motivation doesn't last. That's why discipline, you have to live by it. You see people in any phase of life who are there and they're go-getters in their line. You ask them, they'll say it's the discipline that keeps me there. Motivation doesn't happen, right? And it leaves the best of us. But discipline is what will keep you on your track. So that's what you inculcate. It's not easy, especially when it comes to fitness, like we say, because we really don't understand. But if you are doing anything in life, you need to understand that fitness, ultimate health, is your time and your money. Yeah. What happens to your health? What happens if you are in the hospital for any reason for 10 days? What happens? The whole world turns upside down for you and for your family.
Right.
Will it take that for you to realize the importance of being fit or healthy? Let it not come to that. Understand it before that. You know what? Fitness is time and money. Literally, it is.
We speak about fitness being an investment, but then we think of it as a lump sum investment instead of that 20 rupees you're putting into the piggy bank every day. That's how I I had a lot of failures. I had months when I used to not work out. And then I just realized that I just need to do something every day. I don't need to be focused on performance, or I don't need to be focused on how what my weighing scale is saying to me. I just need to do it every day.
Brushing your teeth. Get up, get it done. There is never workout that is wasted. It is so true. Even a 20-minute session of exercise is not a waste. It's an addition. It's always,
100%, 100%. And another thing that you mentioned about discipline, this too seems overwhelming when you hear terms like discipline, and you're like, yeah, there's so much going on in my life. Why should I be disciplined? Let me just enjoy life. But the payoff that you get, and this is coming from my personal experience, the payoff that you get 6 or 8 months after putting in that little bit of work or a little bit of compounding, like you said, is just incredible. It's worth the 50 or 40 minutes that you put in a day.
Just the fact that I keep reiterating, think of fitness as your time and money. Something that you lack. What if you want to be a go-getter in your chosen career, but there's an inhibition or there's something about your body image that keeps you back? Why would you do that, right? So it's beautiful investment in your personality as a whole. So that's why I say, please put in the work. Please put in the work. It has multiple effects in so many areas of your life.
Yeah, and growth of any kind in any sphere of your life will require you to be a little bit uncomfortable. So it's going to be that 5%, 10% discomfort that you need to face to be able to get through that. I love what you said. So through your journey, now that you've trained thousands of people, what are your wow moments when you've seen some mental and psychological transformations or benefits? Can you share that with us? With your trainees?
I'm so thankful that every day I wake up, I'll read a couple of reviews which help me go, you know what, this is so worth it. I am so glad that this is my calling, because there are too many, but like the most common one being, so for me personally, I know that I had struggled during early years of my marriage for conceiving a child. I'd struggled for years, so I'd understood that the infertility issues put on a woman, a young woman. So when I see a trainee come back to me and say, ma'am, I've conceived, I was struggling for a year, and I'm so happy that I came to you for nutrition and for fitness counseling, and I was in the best shape, and ma'am, I've conceived. So that's one wow moment for me. Another is, when I have citizens who are going through treatment, and like active cancer patients who are going through active radiations, and when they come out and they tell you that, what, the last month has been the best month in the last 3 years or the last 2 years. I've never had so much strength, and I have not enjoyed food like this in a long time, and I'm really enjoying the way my body is feeling despite the treatment. That is a wow moment. So there's always so many things that happen. But there's something which are, of course, very close to heart. There are also women who are in abusive relationships who take a stand that, what, I'm going to work on my health. I'm not going to be the punching bag anymore in this relationship. And when they turn around and in 6 or 8 months, that girl comes to me and says that, I'm finally taking this step and I'm working and I'm this and I feel so good about myself. That's a wow moment for me. So for me, every day. That's why I say I feel I'm so blessed that this is my calling, because I get to read reviews like this. And yeah, although I cannot afford to because of time constraints and because trainees are from all over the world, I rarely have like a heart to heart with each one. But I get to know each one so closely, because in whatever time that they train with me, everything that's being shared is so personal that I get to know them so closely. So it is so nice to see that, at the end of the day, we are all human and we are all looking for a connect and we are all looking for a push. So it's nice to be in a place where you can motivate people.
I'm so happy to hear that, and so inspirational to hear the kind of difference that you're creating in people's lives, Zareen. It's incredible because I personally resonate with fitness. I see that as my anchoring habit. It anchors me. And every time I've had difficulties, it anchors me. And I had a phase where I had severe anxiety. I just joined work. I had certain difficulties coping with different newness in my life, and I used started getting panic attacks. And as usual, when you have any sort of disorder or something like that in India, there is very little guidance or proper information about what you need to do. So I just instantly put on medication. And 1 week of taking that medication, I realized that this is not suiting me. My jaw is chattering. I'm not getting enough sleep. I'm clenching my fist. This is not who I am. And I just told myself, okay, just go to the gym for 1 month and don't think about progress. That just go 1 month. And after that month, I literally did not need the medication. I've not taken it since. That's the effect that I have. So for me, it's so beyond the aesthetic, feature that comes with being physically fit.
Aesthetics is side effects.
Yeah.
What is the way that your mind like I said, I think mental clarity is such an amazing thing that happens when you show a certain discipline in your eating and your fitness habits. I think that is something that mental control and the control over emotions, that itself helps you live such a better quality of life.
100%. 100%. So, Zareen, we spoke about, this sometimes we end up getting very preoccupied with the weighing scale. And we're currently in a day and age where there is so much information about body image and body standards. And on one end of the spectrum, very rightfully so, we have fat shaming. That's something that shouldn't exist. But on the other end of the spectrum, we have things like fit shaming or skinny shaming. And messaging is very varied. It's easily accessible, and it can be very confusing to a young girl. What would your advice be to the younger generation of women to strike the right balance for health and fitness that is unique to them?
So, like I always say, put in the work, make sure that you're doing something that is right. Never go overboard. Like when you speak about fit shaming, you do have people who are excessively, conscious about what they would eat, excessive workout, excessively. Both the spectrums are not healthy. It's unhealthy, right? Fixation with anything is unhealthy. So yes, we do not talk on fixation, but yet, after all is said and done, there is still the path, the correct way, and then there are all the other ways to fitness or to maintaining health. So that is why I feel the role of a coach these days is so important in any field. Somebody who can show you the right way, because there are so many. You have coaches. There'll be a ton of coaches who will tell you, please count the calories. When you are doing research, when you see the latest, what is happening in science, you will understand that calorie counting will fail you. Sooner or later, fail you. And you can't have youngsters counting every morsel of food that they eat. But you can tell youngsters that there's a certain group of food items which are totally cool for you to have because it'll help you with growth. And why don't you keep this set of articles to, as less as possible? Maybe that is something they'll be able to grasp better, that if I'm hungry, I might as well, eat a little more of this if I have to. For example, I have so many kids who are, 10th and 12th and, appearing for their competitive exams and seniors in exams. So, when they join me, it's like, ma'am, I'm studying at night till 2. And invariably, the child or the youngster would want to have a snack. So it's not my role as a coach to say, sorry, boss, your 1,500 calories for the day are done. Now you please study. And right? How would you work with counting of calories? You cannot. So you have to tell them that totally cool. This is the group of foods that, you want to eat something. Make sure that, this is what is at hand. So you always have to understand that when it comes to extremes are never good, but yes, you have to be very guided about what is it that you can follow and what is it that you should not, because it is a no for your health and for your fitness. So yes, coaches are important. And something like calorie counting, my personal view, it's not just my personal view, it is something that is being proved by science again and again. And the latest research shows that calorie counting will never take you far. Yeah. I can have a short-term objective. If you're appearing for a competition, you're going for a physique competition, you have a certain amount to lose for maybe a modeling contract, you have a certain target of 2 kilos, you know what, let me get rid of these 2 kilos, etc., etc. I can understand if somebody's trying to do it for a short term. But still, if your basic health is not cool, if you have deficiencies already in your system, even a little thing like a 7-day strict calorie count or reduction of foods or eliminating of a certain food group will cause havoc to your health. You know, we all know that by science that keto is supposed to be a very healthy form of eating, and there are people who are doing healthy keto and they're doing very great with their health and medical parameters. And yet you have horror stories where people do keto and women have lost their hair, and they come back to you that I will never go back to keto again because keto did this to me and keto did that to you. Whenever you hear such stories, you always have to understand that by science, keto is not something that's not scientifically acceptable. It is very acceptable, and it does help you lead a very healthy life, provided you're doing it with a certain amount of good whole carbs in it. But the horror stories you hear are people who already had nutrient deficiencies, people who were already eating wrong over a long period of time. They had accumulated such deficiencies and such hormonal imbalances in their body that then when they went all out to do a strict keto, they just, what they did was they just compounded those deficiencies and caused serious health troubles. So yes, you need to understand that first, get yourself on track with good health. That's why good health is so important. Get all your parameters checked, your nutrient values, especially in India, because more than half our population is vegetarian. Those who are non-vegetarians will have such unhealthy eating habits that they themselves are, overloading their bodies with sugar, that most Indians are either pre-diabetic or we are deficient in B12, and the women are perpetually on their low hemoglobin levels. So whenever we want to start something and we start a fad diet or anything that's extreme, we anyway have such deficiencies in our body that we just load it on with more stress. So first, we need to become healthy as a population. So that's why my stress is always first get healthy and then see, okay, what works for me in the long term, right?
100%. So get your basics right and then stick to something that's sustainable and not short term and not like a quick fix.
Right.
Super. That's excellent advice. And as somebody who's so, this is so integral to your life, I'm curious to know what your 3 personal fitness habits are that you just cannot do without and that you highly recommend.
My fitness habits. I literally don't have any fitness habits. It's just that I have to get in some sort of sweat session 5 days a week, 5 to 6 days a week. I work out, even if I'm traveling, I'll be in the hotel room or something. But I just make sure there's a sweat session where I have sweated it out, made sure that most of my muscles are done. When it comes to food, I cannot live without eggs and chicken. So that's my goal. I think vegetarian sources cannot compete with non-veg sources like egg or chicken. That's complete protein. And you literally don't need anything else. If you're eating super quantity of vegetables and egg and chicken, you're sorted for life. So for me, this. Now, the most important when you ask me is maintaining my mental balance. Through whatever is going on in life, I will make sure that I don't take myself to a place where the stress overpowers me. The minute I feel that I'm going to a place where the stress is getting to me, or, it's starting to affect how I feel or what my daily routine is, I will retrace my steps back. I will go to a place mentally where I have strength. I will make myself stable, and then I will start with my. So any time there's a stressor, because it's life, right? You have your ups, you have your downs. But any time I feel that there's anything that's sort of disturbing the mental balance, I will retract. I will go in my zone, make sure that I get a hold of everything that's in my grasp. When I'm mentally stable, I'll move on to the next step.
So if I may ask you, do you meditate?
I don't meditate, but that's why I run. So I'm not a runner when it comes to pace and strategy, but I'm a great runner because I feel running literally has been my savior. So I don't meditate sitting in a place. For me, running is meditation. So I run. I've run these last 6 years, and there's nothing that gives me more calm except that morning run. So, I'm not, like I say, a great pace chaser or anything. My running is just that time where it gives me calm. That's my meditation. So yes, you do need something that gets you in your center. So I think running centers me.
Superb. And another thing that I think is important for all of us to understand is that, we see how healthy and fit and how you're glowing. But that's a process that's taken you years. It's not something that happens in a few months. So
I've lived in Pune for more than 30 years. I'm 47, 46 this year. I've lived in Pune more than 30 years. And people those who've been with me in Pune, my friends, my schoolmates, my college mates, those who've known me socially over the years, they know that it's just been a process, and it's all because of nutrition and fitness that you get better and better as you age.
You look incredible. Wow, that was a shocker that you're 47. You look incredible. Just more power to you. I just hope you get healthier and younger looking every year. So this is a question, Zareen, that I ask all my guests. What, according to you, does it mean to be a resolute woman?
From whatever I've seen in life and whatever I've been through personally, and I just think it's taking a stand. And literally, if you do not stand up for yourself, there are quite a few years of my life which I wasted, I feel, because I let them go by in the hope that, things would change or the circumstances will change. Till you stand up for yourself, you will never make your life better. Whatever it is, whether it's in your educational field, whether it's in personal life, whether it's in your career, I feel we need to take a stand. We need to have a certain discipline. And most important, which I keep reiterating, we need to, make sure that people understand that this is who I am and I will not take lesser than this. So there has to be a standard that you set, and there has to be a limit that you set below which you will not accept, whoever that could be. It could be your parents, your relatives. There has to be a standard you set for yourself, and please refuse to take any behavior that's below that standard. You need to take that stand.
I love that. Oh, that's incredible. Thank you. Thank you so much, Zareen, for speaking with us today. Thank you so much for inspiring so many people and transforming their lives. Please continue to do the wonderful work that you do. We're going to be following you closely, and stay resolute.
Thank you, Suvarna. It was great talking to you.
Likewise.
I hope you liked this episode. For more content to empower your mindset, don't forget to comment and subscribe, and please do share with the resolute women in your life. Take care and bye-bye.